Shalom, good evening, Chodesh Tov. Welcome to all of you and to all of our viewers live on Arutz Sheva in Hebrew and in English. Shalom. On April 30, 1956, Ro'i Rothenberg, a youth who went from Tel Aviv to build his home at the gates of Gaza, was murdered by Arabs. At his funeral, then Chief of Staff Moshe Dayan said the following: "Yesterday morning, Ro'i was murdered. The quiet of a spring morning blinded him, and he did not see those lying in ambush. How did we avert our eyes from taking a hard look at our fate, to see our generation's destiny in all its cruelty? Have we forgotten that this group of Jewish youth residing in Nachal Oz bears on its shoulders the heavy gates of Gaza, gates behind which tens of thousands of eyes and hands are crowded, praying for our weakness to come so they can tear us to pieces? Have we forgotten this? We know that in order for the hope to annihilate us to dissipate, we must be vigilant and prepared day and night. The longing for peace deafened his ears and our ears." End of quote. Early in the morning of Simchat Torah 2023, 3 months ago, more than 1,300 Jews were murdered in the Gaza periphery and more than 250 were kidnapped. The preconceptions collapsed then in 1956. Later, they collapsed in the Yom Kippur War with the same Moshe Dayan, and now collapsed on this past Simchat Torah when the Arab enemy dragged our dignity naked through the streets of Gaza, trampled on our security, crushed our intelligence, crushed our technology, crushed all preconceptions. Will we finally draw conclusions this time and no longer continue to stumble? How did one believe the statement that the settlements are the problem, when the truth is that all of Israel is one large settlement, from Eilat to Metula, from Be'eri to Manara? How did one believe the assertion in the Oslo Accords that the Fatah is moderate and only Hamas and the Islamic Jihad are the extremists, when we see that 82% in the Palestinian Authority overwhelmingly support the Simchat Torah massacre? How did one believe that the Gazan population is innocent, that they are victims of Hamas, when we saw them joining en masse on crutches and bicycles to murder, burn, and behead our brothers and sisters? How did one believe that peace can be purchased with money and that security can be ensured without Israeli presence and complete control on the ground? How did one believe that we could create a small, smart army and rely on technology, smart fences, and bring in Arab-Palestinian laborers, and that would bring peace and calm, and we would continue to abide more and more rockets? What we see from Gaza and the Gaza periphery is the same in Judea and Samaria, simply copy-paste. And at the peak of our weakness and our pain, aggressive pressure is beginning from the United States, together with Europe and the UN, who are seeking to impose the two-state solution to try and continue to strip Israel of our most important assets, from our God-given biblical heartland, from the strategic depth, from our history and identity. President Biden, Joseph Borrell, the foreign ministers of 27 countries who toured the region in the south, witnessed the destruction and devastation, heard the hard testimonies, smelled the stench of the burning of our fellow Jews by Arabs. And what is their conclusion? Israel must not occupy Gaza. The Palestinian Authority must assume control of Gaza. In other words, our sons, the soldiers, are supposed to fight in order to give over Gaza to another bunch of terrorists. Joining them is Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, who preaches Gaza is Palestine. Declaring a Palestinian state is another inevitable step. Just yesterday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken told our Prime Minister, Saudi Arabia will normalize relations only if Israel accepts the two-state solution. 3 years ago, we gave up sovereignty in exchange for relations with the Emirates. Will we give up the land of our ancestors, the cradle of our history, in order to normalize relations with Saudi Arabia, which will arm itself with the most modern weapons and in time will turn the tide against us? Will we be blinded again? Against all this, our sovereignty movement already mobilized at the very beginning of the war. we launched a campaign, not Hamas, not Abbas, not Dahlan, not Barghouti, not the United Nations, nor any other international entity will govern Gaza. Only Israeli military and civilian control. Voluntary immigration of the Arabs and Jewish settlement and sovereignty will maintain stability and security and will bring victory. Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed this issue and he said, quote, I will not allow repetition of the Oslo mistake. The dispute between Hamas and Fatah is not whether to destroy the state of Israel, but how. Until now, says Prime Minister Netanyahu, senior Palestinian Authority officials have refused to condemn the massacre and some even exalt it. As Prime Minister of Israel, I will not allow it to happen. The Palestinian Authority will not rule over Gaza after the war. There will be no body in Gaza that will educate for terrorism, and there will be Israeli security control. Mr. Prime Minister, this is not enough. What about civilian control? Security control without Israeli citizens, without Jewish settlement, without Israeli sovereignty will blow away like chaff in the wind. Will the Prime Minister succeed in withstanding the tremendous domestic and foreign pressure that is being exerted on him? We saw that in the matter of fuel and humanitarian aid, he and the government are unable to withstand international pressure. The establishment of a Palestinian state, God forbid, is an experiment that we all know how it will end. Kfar Saba will be transformed into Kfar Aza, Tel Aviv and Kaplan will become Nir Oz and Nir Am. Therefore, we are here at this conference to exert counter-pressure, to enlist public opinion, to provide support for the Prime Minister and the members of the government to stand firm, not to capitulate, and to say loud and clear, Gaza is part of the land of Israel. No to foreign rule over Gaza, neither by the old Palestinian Authority nor by a renewed Palestinian Authority. No to a Palestinian state in Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. The entire land of Israel is ours. And by the way, just before the Hebrew conference started, we divulged an incredible poll that proves that what I just said is the opinion of the overwhelming majority of the people here in Israel. We must create a deep national consciousness based on the righteousness of our path, create sovereignty awareness, invest in security and settlement, action with open eyes and a hand on the helm. The war is about the entire Israel, not only about Gaza. The country's borders must be strengthened and sovereignty must be applied to the Jordan Valley first as soon as possible. Can we stand up to the whole world? Yes. If we cause the world to look at us, to look to us, to our vision, to our destiny, yes. If we don't copy and follow the postmodern world that destroys the values of morality, truth, and justice, we can. There is a light that is now emerging. There is a light that is now emerging in this war. There's a light that is now emerging in this war. The people of Israel who rose up like lions, the soldiers in Gaza and the north, their supportive families, the soldier spirit, the battalion commanders, the brigade commanders, they fill us with optimism. In Gaza, the consciousness of sovereignty has been revealed in a powerful way. To hear the roars of joy from the soldiers entering the water on the Gaza beach, lifting handfuls of sand and shouting, "It is ours, the Shalanu!" To see the soldiers fervently singing the national anthem on the Gaza beach, brandishing Israeli flags everywhere, bringing in Torah scrolls, holding weddings in assembly areas, kindling Hanukkah candles, affixing mezuzot. This spirit, God willing, will prevail. This spirit will withstand any progressive attitude. This spirit must now be channeled into political and practical realms. Ki netzach Yisrael lo yishaker. Today we will hear the best speakers, thinkers, scholars, and security personnel who will explain why a Palestinian state must never be. We must return to classic Zionist values, security, settlement, sovereignty, aliyah. Thank you to the Yesha Council and its head Shlomo Neeman for their partnership in this conference. Thank you to all of the speakers. Once again, thank you to all of you and to all of you who view us in Israel and abroad on Arutz Sheva. Thank you to the Vatkin Production Company. Thank you to Arutz Sheva Israel National News. And especially, thank you, Hashem, for blessing us. And now, a wonderful surprise. Minister Gila Gamliel, Minister of Intelligence, is with us. One of the longtime supporters of sovereignty over all of Judea and Samaria. Yes, clap hands. And who came out first with a plan for the day after the Gaza war. Already on October 13, Minister Gila Gamliel came out with a policy paper, an alternative to a political directive for the civilian population in Gaza. We can't wait to hear about you. Thank you for coming and for everything you do.